Hi, it's Donald Livingston again from Grace Cathedral, and this is, I can't remember, maybe the third in the series from the console, explaining what's going on when you're playing the organ. So we've talked about the divisions, and we've talked about the four types of pipes that comprise an organ. Right now what we're going to talk about is the actual stops, and we're going to learn what the name on the stop knob actually tells you. So if you'll come around and look, you'll see that every stop has two features, a name and a number that measures in feet. So the name tells you what quality of sound we're going to hear. We know by the name if it's supposed to sound like a trumpet, there we are. If it sounds like a bassoon, there it is. If it's there's that viola da gamba we mentioned before earlier. So there's a name that tells us the kind of pipe that we're working with, the kind of sound it's going to produce, and then the number is the interesting part. It relates to the overtone series. So organs are largely machines that expand the overtone series or reinforce the overtone series by using pipes of different length. First of all, you'll see there's a lot of number eights. There's eights. And that 8 foot refers to a pipe that is at this note level, two octaves below middle C. An open pipe is 8 feet long, and that's from the point where the air comes through the mouth that speaks to the end of the pipe. 8 feet. And this would correspond to, say, if you play piano and you play middle C, that's it. Everything that's 8 feet is going to sound at that pitch, regardless of where it is or what kind of sound it is. Now, if we take an 8-foot pipe and we cut it in half, we get something that sounds an octave higher. So that's 4 feet long. There, we'll start here. So here, an 8 and a 4. Then if we cut a 4-foot pipe in half and make it 2 feet long, we get something an octave higher than that. If we make it just a little bit longer, instead of making it 2 feet long, we make it 2 2/3 feet long, we get something that sounds halfway in between. And what we start doing here is reinforcing the overtone series. So the overtone series, there's a Wikipedia article, I'm sure you could interest yourself with this, but largely the overtone series, the physics of how sound is made is dependent on the overtone series, and it is built on a series of pitches that, as they ascend, get closer together. And so if I were to rebuild an overtone series, it would be these notes, and they would get closer together as we go higher. That overtone series is and the foot length that's associated with them tells us where in the overtone series those pitches fall. So we can recreate the overtone series through pipes. Here we start with an 8. If we double that length, we get 16, which sounds an octave lower. If we cut it in half, we get an octave higher. If we cut a pipe to 2 2/3 length, halfway between 4 and 2, we get that overtone. To a 2 foot, another octave higher. Then we get a 1 3/5. We get the third above that, and then we can get the 5th above that, and then there is a 1 foot. Where's my 1 foot? Here it is. And there we are. We've built the overtone series almost to the top. And that's what the foot length, or the number, the Arabic numeral tells us, foot length of the pipe. You'll note that when you look at the stops, there are names and there are Arabic numerals. There's also Roman numerals. These relate to the overtone series as well. And what these are basically reinforcements clusters of reinforcements over the overtone series that have been grouped together in a block. And so the Roman numeral tells us how many ranks of pipes are used in recreating that portion of the overtone series. So we'll start here. We have 8, 4, 2, 2 2/3, 1 3/5, and here you'll hear a lot of brilliance. And so it reinforces the very brilliant, very high parts of the overtone series. And if you listen to it by itself, you'll hear there's a number of pipes sounding at the same time. And and the Roman numeral tells us how many are actually sounding at one time. And they're all used to add brilliance. Here we'll demonstrate with the principal chorus of the organ. Here's 16, 8, 4, 2 principals, and then this is what they sound like. That's great. But we add a mixture of 4 ranks on the top end of the overtone series. We get brilliance. So that's what we get from the names of the stops.